What's up, everybody? Thanks for watching Car Inside. It's a new week here on iRacing. Seed Fix heads to our home state of Virginia for Martinsville Speedway. This hot lap is going to be coming on the lap number 1. We're using a 12-to-1 steering ratio, 62% brake bias. I tried a bunch of different things here. I tried brake bias all the way from 52% up to 68%, and I found that I could be the most consistent and get the truck slowed up as much as I needed and keep it really balanced on 62% brake bias. I tried a 10-to-1 steering ratio because I feel like I didn't have to turn the wheel as much, but I felt like I was scrubbing way too much speed with that. So I used a 12-to-1 steering ratio, and I felt like I was the most consistent using that 12-to-1. I probably turned about 80 laps here trying many different things, but what we done here to get our hot lap, it's coming on lap number 1. Cooler track conditions, cooler track temperatures rather. The tires, the track is not very slick. There is a lot of grip, and I found that I could get it on lap number 1. So what I've done here, third gear, done a third gear pull down to the bottom, get up as much speed as we could, shift to fourth. Now you don't necessarily have to do that. You just want to carry as much speed as you can on your first lap. It's just a few extra miles an hour, kind of help free lap time there. So that's what we done. Going to be using a lot of braking here this week at Martinsville, so get that brake bias set to a good, something that's good and comfortable for you. That's going to be the biggest thing to keep you fast is consistency, but we'll slow it down here. As you can see, I was just kind of aiming for this Cup Series logo. I was in third gear, just kind of cruising, and when we get to this Cup Series logo just past the subway, I turned down to the bottom and just hammer down up off the curbing, shift to fourth, and we were about 115 miles an hour at start finish line. I was just a couple miles an hour quicker going through third gear and winding it out and shifting to fourth than what I was with actually running through fourth gear. Now, braking points, it's kind of going to be hard to explain or show a really good reference point, but the best thing that I can kind of show you guys here is this Cup Series logo on the infield wall. It's hard to see from the cockpit view here, but that was kind of the area where we start turning in off the wall and using the brake. You can hear we're bouncing off the chip here. We got a lot of speed that we're carrying. We start dragging that brake, and we're braking all the way down to where this kind of really start turning left. Now there's a brief moment here, and you can look, there is no throttle input, no braking input. That is a very critical moment here at Martinsville for both ends of the speedway to really help the truck rotate. In that moment, when there is no braking and there is no throttle, that is when your truck is going to rotate the center the best. So it's just a brief moment of time when it's happening, but you can really pay close attention because you can really feel the truck rotating. And through that moment, that's when you're going to know when you can start picking up the throttle and carrying a little speed. I mean, it's just a split second of time there. But when it starts turning down toward the bottom, toward the curbing, then you know that you can start picking up the throttle, picking up a little, and then I guess this is really about feel. But if you were kind of putting a marker on it when we start picking up the throttle wide open, it's kind of the end of this curbing. So you can use turn 1 here. You're braking into the curbing, just the slightest bit past it, off throttle, picking up the throttle, and at the end of the curbing there, the red and white curbing, that's where you are going to be full throttle back out. Turn number 3, the reference point to brake, is a little easier to show. It's the end of this wall here, and about a car length before you get to these 2 little red lines at the blue emu sign. You start braking. As you're braking, you're going to start turning in. This truck's really hard to get to rotate while under heavy braking, so you want to aim, and whenever you get to this red marker, you want to be down on the bottom as you approach. You don't want to be a lane high. You will not get the truck back down to the bottom, and you're going to lose critical lap time. So start turning in early, braking, again, at the end of the straightaway, bouncing off the chip, turning in, kind of at the safer barrier. Here where these tires are, it's going to be that moment where we're off the brakes, and just a split very split second of time there that we're off the brakes and off the throttle. Not so much in 3 and 4 as it is turns 1 and 2. If you start picking up the throttle here, and again, as we were saying, off the exit of turn number 2, kind of near the end of this strip here is where we can pick it up full throttle. But you just have to get the feel for it this week. That is a 19.535, but this is one of those tracks where you're just going to have to get the feel for it. You're going to have to know when the truck is rotating and when you can throttle up. I didn't have as much trouble as I remember having in the past with the truck trying to over-rotate and spin out on me. Seems like I was getting the tires really hot by the time I got to my second lap, trying to lay down a hot lap. So every lap that I put down here, my hot lap was on the first lap. Every lap that I ran, the first lap was the fastest lap. But I tried many different combinations of things, and this combination here of running high straight out of the pits through third gear, crawl into fourth, and running my lap number 1 was the fastest lap, second fastest, and third fastest laps that I laid down. So I could not top any other combination of things than what we got here with a 12-1, 0 offset, 62% brake bias. For the race, most likely I'll be using a 14-1 steering ratio. My brake bias, I'll probably start that around 57%, and I maybe bump it up to 60, and then as the race goes on, turn it down to 64. But don't want to use too much braking and get the truck to spin out. A lot of rear braking here. The truck will try to come around on you. As you can see there, that was my second lap of 19.6. So the first lap was a whole lot faster than the second lap was. Race strategy. This track is going to be, Martinsville typically tends to be all about track position as the race goes on. If you have I think it's 75 laps is what the race will be. If you get up somewhere around lap 25 or 30 and you ran 90% of the laps under green flag, I would pit. Probably what you're going to see me doing this week if I get to run a lot is pit early. If I get more than 25 laps on my tires, go ahead, pit, and then stay out the remainder of the race. That's how I've typically won races here at Martinsville in the past, is playing the track position game and not pitting unless I have 20 or more laps on my tires. If you get a really long run, 50, 60 laps, and you have a caution with 10 or 15 laps to go, then of course you're going to want to pit and take tires. But I would be open-minded to the idea of taking 2 tires. 2 tires here seem to be able to, you could really hold on. The left side tires don't really wear out a whole lot. There's so much load that sits over on that right side of the truck that the rights are really the ones that's going to wear. The lefts really, they don't have a lot of load on them through these fixed setups. So I've typically took 2 tires. Especially if, like I was saying, a certain scenario, if you have a caution around lap 20, then you run 30, 40 more laps and you have a 10, 15 lap dash to the finish, and you only have a good 30, 35 laps on a set of tires, I would definitely take right sides only and 2-tire strategy, gain some track position, and play it out that way, because track position here is going to be more critical than fresh rubber, especially on a short run to the finish. I've seen that win races more times than having a fast truck and being consistent all race long. Seen a lot of people lose races that way, and myself included. So be open-minded to 2 tires, especially if you don't have a lot of laps on those tires. That's the best advice that I could give you for race strategy. But other than that, keeping it clean. It's a short track. It's going to be it's going to be calamity. Going to be very chaotic, and keeping the truck clean throughout the entire race is going to be very critical. Last time trucks were here at Martinsville, it was very easy to get a meatball. It seemed like that they upped the damage to where you could get damage very easily to try to get those wrecking balls off the track. So be very cautious of that, very aware. May not be the same. They may have patched it. I don't know if that was even something that needed to be patched or if it's something they done intentionally. So keep that in the back of your mind as well. Try to avoid any collisions at all. We want to see 0 X's out there here at Martinsville. It's going to be very hard to do. But as always, I appreciate you guys watching Car Inside. This lap hopefully will be the most relatable lap you see, as we like to say here on Car Inside. It may not be the fastest. I feel like you're probably going to see some guys dip down into the fours, hopefully ourselves included. I was looking back at some lap times that we had put down throughout the previous seasons at Martinsville, and under the lights we were putting down some 19.4s. So hopefully we can do the same here this week, maybe dip down close to the 19.4 second range, the high fours, and get us a couple poles here and back up our qualifying breakdown laps. But as always, appreciate you guys watching Car Inside. Thanks for all the support. If you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button. And if you have, tell somebody about us. Tell them to hit the subscribe button. We're on the road to 1,000. We are about 3/4 of the way there. So hoping to be monetized by the end of the year. I think that would be really cool. We can reach our goal. Since I've been doing these breakdowns, I think that I've picked up around 100 subscribers per month on average. So that's very good. We're pointed in the right direction, and it's all because of you guys and all the great support that you give here on Car Inside. It's greatly appreciated. I love you guys, and we'll see you next time.